As the 19th century drew to a close, humanity was living through one of the brightest eras in its history. In laboratories, geniuses like Edison and Tesla were fighting the energy wars of the future, while steam, electricity, and steel were reshaping the world. Anything now seemed possible. Yet, this modernization also brought with it a deep-seated anxiety. People were not yet accustomed to the revolutionary innovations entering their lives. The year 1898 was a year of triumphs. The triumph came with a price. That same year, in Pennsylvania, the steam boiler of a textile factory exploded. Dozens of workers lost their lives, caught in the gears of the great machine called progress. This was not a train accident, it was a factory accident. People were now afraid not just of new inventions, but of the power of the machines that produced them. Yet the true wound lay in society itself. Two separate realities existed side by side, yet moved apart. One at luxurious dining tables, the other dependent on crumbs of charity. And though these lives were carried by the same steam trains, they never traveled in the same direction. What awaited the crowd flocking to the heart of luxury, however, was perhaps the most unusual example of fear yet. There, in London's most famous department store, Harrods, the most surprising toy of this new era was on display. Newspapers ran headlines about the miracle moving staircase, and people flocked to step into the future. Inside awaited a moving staircase made of wood and steel. For the engineers, it was a source of pride. But in an era where even elevators were still novel, how were people to adapt to this technology? Then the moment finally arrived. The first brave volunteers stepped onto this steel beast, but the human body and mind rebelled against this unfamiliar motion. And suddenly, on that perfectly functioning machine, human bodies began to faint. The luxurious atmosphere transformed into a chaos echoing with screams. This was not the sound of a machine, but the sound of societal hysteria. Fortunately, they were not unprepared for this panic. Similar incidents had been reported when trains first appeared. The first remedy for such shock situations in the 19th century sprang into action: ammonia. To stimulate the nervous system with its pungent smell and restore consciousness, pharmacists rushed about with glass bottles. The unconscious were carried outside, recovering on benches. This absurd spectacle also whetted the appetite of the press, with sensational headlines like "Machine Crushes Conscience." The event became the city's biggest gossip. The enemy was no longer just a staircase, but progress itself. In the whispers at social gatherings and the heated debates on the streets, everyone, absolutely everyone, was talking about this miraculous and dangerous machine. Even the engineer who created it was filled with deep regret. Could people ever adapt to this new age? The true victory of progress was the crossing of this psychological threshold. Some challenged it, others grew indifferent. Yesterday's dangerous miracle became people's routine within a month. Just as repeated experiences silence the fear center in our brains. Just like the ordinary excitement of a child riding an escalator today, it too had been coded as normal. And in those years, even greater revolutions were on the horizon, ready to redefine normal once again. Professor Marie Curie was capturing radium, Edison was capturing sound, and Tesla was capturing electricity. Each was a herald of a future beyond fear. This process of adaptation happened so quickly that by 1911, the London Underground was presenting the world's first underground escalators to the public at Piccadilly Circus. It was no longer a miracle to be feared, but an ordinary fixture. Time flowed on. And those staircases became invisible cogs in the machinery of modern life. Now, the only feeling we experience while riding them is haste, or the attention we pay to the small screens in our pockets. But humanity's primal fear of the unknown never changed. Yesterday it was the escalator. Today it is a brand new, revolutionary, and equally terrifying power we face: artificial intelligence. Will we, as we did 125 years ago, first see it as an enemy only to slowly grow accustomed to it? Or is the game completely different this time?